Daily Manna from the Torah by Dr. Ketriel Blad. Shalom everyone, welcome to the second Aliyah of Parashat Korach, Shaved. This Aliyah of the second day is found in Numbers 16 from 14 to verse 19. Today we'll be covering verse 15 as study subject. Then Moses became very angry and said to the Lord, "Do not accept their offering. Whose offering will be welcomed?" Korach and his followers' conflict had to do with authority. Who's the boss? The Hebrew text on verse 3 says that they rose over, al in Hebrew, over Moshe and over al Aharon. They had an attitude of rebellion and self-exaltation. Instead of submitting to those the Eternal assigned, they lifted up themselves and, in their own minds, they placed themselves over the leaders, questioning their motives and blaming them for not fulfilling their promises when it was themselves who brought an unfavorable sentence from the heavenly court. It wasn't Moshe who failed, it was they that failed due to their lack of trust in the Eternal. When Moshe Rabbeinu got upset about what they said, he didn't threaten them back or spoke a word against them. He was able to control his character in the middle of his anger, and in that critical moment, he turned to the Eternal. It was the best he could have done. He asked the Eternal not to accept their offering, which they were going to bring the next day, in order to make evident that they weren't chosen as priests and that the path to power is not the result of pushing others around. If Korach and his followers would have been accepted as priests instead, or with Moshe and Aharon, it would have been a disaster for the people. This kind of leadership, full of envy, rivalry, criticism, lies, rebellion, and self-exaltation, would have taken the entire people to their ruin. In other words, Moshe was asking, "Deliver us from such a leadership." Moshe asked the Eternal not to accept their offering because their attitude was not the correct one. The one who approaches the Eternal can't do it with an arrogant spirit, but with fear and tremor. If the Eternal would have accepted the rebels' offering, he would have approved their rebellion. One can't mock the Eternal. If one approaches him, he has to be willing to submit to his rules and not tell him what to do. Moshe's prayer was in agreement with the Eternal's justice. He couldn't accept a fool's offering. In Ecclesiastes 5:1 it's written, "Walk prudently when you go to the house of God, and walk near to hear rather than to give the sacrifice of fools, when they do not know what they do is evil." If one approaches the Eternal only to offer sacrifice, but without the intention of listening in the sense of obeying, he is a fool. In Psalm 66, verse 18, it's written, "If I regard iniquity in my heart, the Lord will not hear." Dear disciple of the Messiah, be careful not to rise above the Eternal's assigned leaders. You don't have to agree with everything they say and do, but that doesn't give you the right to rise above them. Do as Moshe did. In example, when you see injustice, speak to the Eternal and pray that He does justice. Don't take justice in your own hands. Don't speak against the leaders you consider to be in error, nor speak against those who rise above your leadership. Speak to the Eternal and let Him judge. He sets and takes away leadership positions. Don't try to take advantage of the Eternal by presenting offerings to Him. That's dangerous. If you practice fornication, lying, or theft, don't ask for healing for your body or blessings in your economy. Don't bring offerings in order to be accepted or rewarded. Settle your accounts with Him and submit to His orders. By doing this, you will have the approval of the Eternal and also of the man who know him. The one who exalts himself will be humiliated, and the one who humbles himself will be lifted up. Blessings and shalom.